Hi and welcome to another short video. This is going to be on macros and how to set it up and use them. Basically, it will go ahead and automate a lot of stuff for our users. It would go ahead and improve productivity as well as speed up some of the processes that they would do consistently, probably day to day. To get started, let's make sure that we have basically, let's make sure they have the utility bar. So let's go into accounts. Once we're in our accounts, we don't have the utility bar of the macros set up here. So in order to get that going, we'll be in our settings. We'll go to App Manager. We'll go into our Sales Lightning, basically where you want it. So and it's going to be our Sales Lightning, utilities for desktop, and we'll go ahead and set this up. So we'll add it. We're going to go ahead and add the macros. How do you want it to be set up? What type of icons? I'm just gonna leave it generic, everything, but obviously you want to kind of maybe play around with it, make sure it fits with your org, and then go ahead and save that up. But for me, I'm just gonna save it. We're just gonna show how it's working and how it's implemented. Let's go ahead and do a refresh, and there we go. We have the macros set up. Let's say we want to automate some of the aspects or some of the processes. Maybe we're doing a task or we're logging a call. There's events or emails. Let's say we want to set out an email. Let's assume we were in our leads and we want to send out an email. Originally we created quick text, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do an auto populate of this quick text as well into our automation of the macros. So to create a macro, click on your macro. Very simple. Create a macro. We'll say send email. And what do we want to actually go ahead and create the description of what is it going to do, right? Send email using quick text. Quick text. Okay. Obviously, you want to make sure it's something specific to your org. Make sure that the description is proper. I'm just doing quick. Object. Where do you want this macro to be actually, workable? So in other words, it is going to apply to a specific object. So where do you want it to actually go ahead and be able to use it for the users? So let's say if it's under cases. In our case, it's going to be for leads. So if I put it for leads, then they won't have access to it. They won't have access to it in general in, let's say, cases. So if we go ahead and we save it, there you go. We are basically in the screen where we are going to set up our macro and all the instructions for it. So to edit the instructions, we can go edit. There's a few other options. We can change owners, clone it. But in our case, let's go ahead and do edit instructions. We are going to edit our instructions under our lead. So this is basically one of our leads. We will go ahead and we would tell it exactly what do we want it to do when somebody clicks that macro. So the first thing we wanted to do, okay, we're going to send out an email. So we want to click on the email. And you would notice it says here it already does everything one by one. So that's the great part. So we can actually do everything one by one as we go along. So it has already two. If we want to say we want to CC somebody, we can go ahead and we can do a CC. If there's a quick text in it, we can actually go ahead and do a quick text insert of let's say a username or something. We can insert an email template. Right, so if we have an email template, classic, let's say we have some sort of an email template, we can go ahead and select that and it will already auto-populate everything for us in respects to that email template. We can leave the CC part blank, it's not a big deal. The action over here that you have to kind of keep in mind, we can also, by the way, go ahead and insert an attachment if we need it. So that's another thing we can do. Let's say we have something generic, that we send out to all leads for whatever reason. We can go ahead and we can do an attachment. So as for the action, as I was mentioning, two things to remember is basically when something is, let's say, written here, it's already pre-populated. What this will do is it will replace the text that's already here. It would insert it after, so after the text, or it would insert it before the text. So what do you want it to do, and when do you want it to do it? So that's what this section is going to do. So the text we're going to set up here is going to be populated after, before it. So if there's something here already, is going to do, we can do the whole replace, and we could do replace the whole thing of the CC. Obviously you don't want to use it here. I'm just giving you an example what you can do with it, but let's assume we had a quick text of you know, a CC person that we always want to CC to for whatever reason. This would be, you know, an option that you can go ahead and do. The other aspect here is you can see replace existing text. So what it's going to do is going to replace all this. Sorry, it's the subject is going to replace the whole subject, right, with whatever we have right here. So same thing as here. So our subject, let's assume we had some information, is going to be replaced fully. HTML body. This is the template that came in, you know, from, I guess, the generic org. So it's going to, if we look at the bottom action as well, it's going to replace the existing text. So this text right here is just going to be fully removed and is going to be replaced by this information. So we can't go ahead and edit because it's a template, but let's assume that we want to add something else to it as well. You know, we can go ahead and do that. But in our scenario, we did have a quick text. Maybe we want to use the quick text. I can go ahead and delete that part, and I can click here, and you would see it would come up. It would say replace, insert cursor. We don't need that part, but there is the quick text that we did create that we want to make sure that it populates. So now what it's going to do is going to replace all this, and it's going to populate it with our quick text that we created from before. And then afterwards, obviously, you know, you want to tell it what it's going to do once it's done with that. So we basically went through all the steps. Okay, so from who, all the generic stuff, fake emails, you know, and the CC subjects, whatever it is, it would auto populate everything in here. So keep in mind, again, this is all just generic stuff. It's all you know, so it's not going to actually send it to anyone, or no one's going to receive it, because this is just you know, this is just for testing purposes. So we can go ahead and we can click send. Our submit action button is already set up, so we are pretty much good, up and working, and we can go ahead and we can do a save on this. Let's see what is the issue we're having here. Okay, so then there's no issue. We just have to close it. It's not a big deal. So if we go back into our send an email, we'll go ahead and refresh this, and we'll see the whole, you know, the whole instructions that we just went ahead and did. So in our case, this was already done, so we can go ahead and go. We can actually close it. I'm not sure why I'm doing that. Go into our leads. Once we're on our leads, it's called send email. So let's pick anything, all open for whatever reason, and we'll click this record. We'll go down. Okay, so because we're on our leads, if we click on email, we just click top right, go ahead, we can so yeah, our utilities, we'll select our utilities, select the macros we want to go ahead and run, and we just click run macro. And basically the macro, you can see the steps. It would go through success, you're done, and then it sent the email already for you. There you go, email sent. Perfect, right? Great. So to kind of give you an idea how things are run, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to edit instructions, and I'm going to remove the submit button, so you kind of get to have an idea of how things are, you know, set up. Let's say you don't want to submit. Let's say you want to leave the submit for the user to actually click. So we can remove the submit, saved, perfect. We'll come refresh this. Also keep in mind, let's say if we want to go into contacts for, let's say we have contacts. We want to go into contacts, and we want to go send an email. So same idea, but the difference is we don't have macros. Why? Because we set the macro into our leads. So that's what that was the one of the things, right? It's basically object specific. So it's set to lead. So let's go back, click email, click the macro, run the macro, and it's going to do everything done, but it has a set email. So we can go ahead, lower that, and you will see that how everything's basically set up, how everything's populated. So hopefully that did help you out, shined a little bit of light how things are done. If you have any questions, feel free and leave a comment below. Thanks.